Alrighty. So, do you wanna? Okay. So, I mean, obviously the topic of the discussion is abortion, but do you want to present your case first, or you want me to present first?
Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
Hmm.
I got my degree during COVID, so I'm gonna ball out live, as is tradition for my generation. Okay, it's what we were taught. It's what we were told to do, basically.
That's fair.
That's not my fault. It's because of COVID. I still haven't recovered. It's still my excuse, and I'm gonna fucking die on that grave.
I mean, like
Honestly,
99% of population. So you can. I can't believe that you can still go to work and still like use that like use COVID as an excuse for whatever the fuck it is that you want to use it for. It's
yeah.
actually
Hey,
crazy.
it gets people scared, dude. They start shaking like, oh shit, COVID.
No, that's the funniest part. Like so far, like I see people still using it, and they don't give a fuck. Like people don't give a fuck anymore. But they still you take the excuse. I don't know what it is, but they still take. They're like, oh yeah, okay, COVID, oh, all right, I understand. But they're not.
I mean,
They don't give a
CDC
fuck.
hasn't updated. CDC hasn't updated their guidelines. If somebody has COVID, they shouldn't come to work for 5 days.
I think like a good chunk of like the quote unquote like fear that people had towards COVID wasn't even fear. It was just straight up abuse of how convenient
Chinese
it was to
propaganda.
use. No, it was just abuse of how convenient it was of an excuse for whatever it is that you were using it for work or for school, whatever it was just too convenient of an excuse. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
So yeah, because I mean I definitely took advantage of that shit, and I know other people that did for
I
sure.
didn't.
So.
I didn't. I'm a
There's
bitch.
got to be like one time that you used it for it, like that you were like, okay, you know what, I got a cough, didn't take a test, but it's COVID, so I'm not going wherever it is that I was. Even if it's something social, like your friends are all like want you to go somewhere, and then you're like, no, no, I got COVID, yeah, like
Nah, nah, nah.
you know you did
No, I
it,
didn't use it. I didn't.
never. That's kind of
Okay,
crazy,
no.
dude. Wow,
I only used it when I actually had it.
wild man, wild.
I was trying to get people not to go to work when they had COVID.
Hey man, stay home, stay
I remember
home.
this is one security guard. The security.
Oh, motherfucker deleted himself from existence. The security guard took your ass out before you could tell him anything. Wonder if he's still talking about himself. Let me see. Hey guys, did the security card get you? Did the security card get to you before you could spill the beans? Whatever, man. You unplugged? What the fuck is happening?
Hello?
Oh, there you go. I was like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is happening? Everything keeps shutting down for you.
Charlie. It's
Jesus.
fucking Charlie, dude. He's fucking sending his
Oh,
boys
is
out.
he? Is that why he
Yeah.
moved you into the other channel?
No, I don't know what happened. I'm updating my drivers on my graphics card, so that means Discord has authority to not work anymore.
That's how it goes. Typical.
Yeah.
Discord also has some kind of like kernel power because it's kind of crazy the amount of shit that it does. It's constantly fucking with my shit up.
Dude, dude, of course it does. They're listening. Like, this is FBI. This is run by the FBI, I'm sure.
My lord.
NSA is like, they're like, you know what? Nobody can make a fucking a speaking platform that works. You know what? We're gonna make our own. TeamSpeak, Skype, all trash. And then they have all the fucking people posting their fucking kitty porn and shit, and their fucking
In Discord?
yeah.
Damn, dude, that's fucking crazy. I didn't know it was out here
Dude,
like
you
that.
can find a Discord for anything. You can find a Discord for like the celebrity nudes. You can find a Discord for the OnlyFans. You can find a Discord for like movies.
You
You
get no
don't think
point. There's
somebody's
like
running one of
no.
those? No offense,
Are
like
there?
it's just
No,
probably
no,
true.
no. No, I 100%
I
believe that
have
it
no
is.
evidence.
No, I know. I don't either, but I believe that it's true just because, like, is there any case, have you ever run into a case where any of your servers have been moderated? Because I haven't. Like, I've never seen a mod in any server, you know? Maybe it's a backdoor thing, they can all access it whenever they like.
Yeah,
But,
I'm
like,
pretty sure.
who's gonna just go around checking? Like, that's kind of crazy. That's a lot of servers. I don't know. But I mean,
It probably
I
has
could
to
see
be
it.
flagged first. It probably has to be flagged by
By
somebody
what?
first.
Oh, I guess by someone in the server? That'll be about the
Correct.
only way? Okay,
That
yeah.
makes sense. That's like if I were a company, it's like I'm doing my due diligence by making sure I got flagged.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
Fair
if
enough.
everyone's in on it, like nobody reports it, then
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, guy. So, Do you want to present your case first, or should I?
Honestly, can we just do like an open discourse thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's the idea. But I mean, just make it short, brief and short, nice and sweet.
Okay.
So just
Let's
like
see.
pretty much, just here, I'll start, and then you can bounce off of whatever I say. So
Let's go.
I guess morally speaking, my stance would be that abortion is wrong from the get-go, from conception. And then,
Why is it
give me
morally
a
wrong?
second. So it's just an opening statement. So like, morally speaking, it's wrong from conception. Uh, Now, practically, and you know, in other words, legally speaking, I am willing to be convinced on a date. Not,
Unlike,
I still stand at conception, but I am willing to hear you out. I'm 100% convinced that it's wrong morally. There's no change in my mind
so,
from that. Like, you can try, but
like,
I'm like
like conception
99.99%
is
sure
like
that that it's wrong.
the second the seed hits the egg.
Essentially, like morally speaking, I'm 99.99% sure that is the correct position to have. Now, legally speaking, whether it should be allowed to, like, up to a certain point, I
Right.
am willing to hear you out. I'm not certain that, from conception,
And
so completely
you
banned should be the right call. So now,
and you.
what is your stance on both of those terms?
My
Morally
stance is
speaking
like people
and
should be
legally
morally. I think it's wrong.
from conception.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably from conception. Because at the end of the day, you don't know if it's alive or not.
So you grant no, but morally speaking, you grant that from conception it's alive. It's a
Yes,
different life. Okay.
because you can't tell.
No, you can tell.
At
It's a
the end of
different
the
life.
day, you know.
No, you can't. Like, biologically speaking, 95% of biologists agree. It's at conception. That's a
Okay.
new life.
Regardless, I agree. It's probably from conception. But at the end of the day, like, there's still you can't prove with 100%
Yes, you
certainty.
can.
Like, okay, so then like, where do you draw the line? Can it be at conception?
No, remember,
Sorry,
like,
when
morally,
at consciousness.
is it ethically, as in epistemologically, is it a human at conception, a new human?
I see.
It is. The answer is yes.
It
There's
is.
no
Okay.
disputing that.
I guess the
So,
reasoning as to why I think it should be allowed,
so now we're talking
is
legally. Okay, we'll move
yes, legally
on. Okay.
is
So we agree. Morally, human at conception, correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And
correct.
practicality, like, because it really is it is a bit harsh to not have any leniency, and
On any cases whatsoever.
not just that,
I
but
think,
just in general too, because just in the simple fact of, I mean, we can get into it later down the line, just because that's a long topic, but there is a good well, we'll get it down the line, so let's just table that for now. But yeah, there is a reason for why it could be possibly legally allowed past conception. All right, so you were saying?
I think the reason that we should allow people to have abortions is mainly because at the end of the day, the government doesn't necessarily help once a child is born, in my opinion. Like, there are things that the government does to help, but at the end of the day,
Well, that would be a nanny state, but that's besides the point. So, like, you can't use the reason for allowing it is that the government doesn't help, because there's certainly, like, tons and tons of facilities that will help, pre and post.
of course.
Mostly religious, to be fair, but still there are.
I mean, the cases that are obvious where it should be allowed is, in my opinion, rape. And I know you're gonna like argue that the life shouldn't be, at fault. The unborn child shouldn't be at fault for, like, what the
Sins of
father did. But correct. But at the end of the day, it's like a woman who has to carry that child, and psychologically, the damage it would cause to that individual. You're choosing the unborn individual that you don't even know if he's going to live or not, right?
No, you can't use that as an excuse either, because you don't know if somebody could be a serial killer or not, and you still allow them to live.
No, of course. But
Hence,
still,
you
like,
can't say that
why?
you don't know
So
if it's gonna
okay,
live or not as an
let's say the guilt of having to carry that child, the rape child,
Mhm.
up until term, right, and giving birth to him, and then the child looks exactly like the guy who raped her. So every day, she has to look at a child.
She doesn't have to keep it.
You don't think it's gonna psychologically fuck with her having to carry it for like 9 months?
It might, but I mean, the deed already
So then,
happened.
like, fuck her.
The deed already happened.
I'm asking, so there should be some compensation for the person who's forced to carry it.
Compensation from who?
Great question. I don't fucking know.
Because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I don't know where you stand on that, but I'm for the death penalty. Rapist, death penalty immediately. Obviously, it would have to go through the tribulations of getting the death penalty, which is a
I
lengthy
don't
process.
know. I don't know.
It's fine. We don't have to
disagree
get
with
into that just because
Yeah.
you might be against the death penalty to begin with. But in any case, like, okay, I'm not gonna say that I'm not open to the position of allowing it for rape cases, just because it would be very obtuse to say, you know, it is true. It's not the kid's fault. It was the father that committed the sin. But you're trying to you're not undoing the rape by
I know what you're
aborting
saying.
a child.
Two wrongs don't make it right.
It's not just that. It's not just that. It's that you're not just doing wrong to the baby. Abortion isn't a procedure like you pop a pill and it's done. I mean, I suppose if you do it early enough, it is. But it's not something so simple where you just do it and then you have no like lasting consequences afterwards. If you
Can I ask a question? Is Plan B considered an abortion?
yes,
In your opinion?
it is.
Really?
Yes.
No, I've had a lot of abortions.
Well, I mean, there's no way to tell that it actually conceived.
Yeah, I know.
So there's no guarantee to tell you. So at least have some solids in that. Have some solids in that. But
How many children have died?
having an abortion is in of itself another traumatic experience. So being raped is one, and then having an abortion is another. So you can't exactly say that having an abortion would be the treatment
But these are
for
like small instances,
carrying a
right?
child.
What
What is?
are like carrying a child to term is definitely takes significantly longer than having to.
Hey, guy.
Yeah.
Stay in the audience, my guy.
Wait, no. I just want to say something real quick. I'm not gonna interrupt the conversation at all. I'm just letting you know that the audience have their hands up if they want to jump in, alright?
Oh yeah, no, I see the little thing here.
Okay. I just wanted you guys to be aware.
Yeah, I peeped. Don't worry.
I will not jump into the conversation again unless you guys have to, alright?
Alright,
I just
sounds
wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that.
Sounds good. So, so what I was saying, okay, we can stay on this if you like, but there's no reason to, realistically speaking, because it's this is such. But I mean, we can stay on this just for the case. Let's say I grant you that. Let's say I grant this. Let's move on from this. We can come back if you like. But let's say I granted that we're allowing it for rape. That's less than 1% of all cases, so it's fine. 99% of abortions is still happening. So let's move on from rape, and then we can touch on it afterwards, just because we can make, all kinds of arguments for or against that. So now,
How about if the child
for the general population, hold on, let's not do eugenics.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so hear me out.
I was reading this book on it the other day, actually. I have a lot of points. If you read it.
We can come back to it. It's fine. I did buy it just a few weeks ago. I haven't gotten to it, but I did buy it. I did. I wanted to see what the fuck was the.
He's such a good writer.
No, but you can understand a person and their motivations much better if you hear from themselves and not from a third party. So that's why I bought it. But in any case, I mean, not to justify anything he did, obviously, but I would like to know what his thought process was. But in any case, let's talk about the general population, because that's where 95% of all abortions happen. So let's say for those 95% of all abortions, where is it that you are drawing the line? Because you said morally it's a conception. So now you're saying that you want to allow it a bit more. For
Legally?
Yeah, you want to allow at least for a bit. You're pretty much like what I'm getting is that you want to give people a chance to not have the kid. But I mean, okay, is that your position that you're
Probably.
like where is it that you're drawing the line? I can help you. I'll help you with it.
The first logical point is like heartbeat, right?
Okay.
Because that's the point where like it's pumping blood throughout. I mean, it's still getting help from the umbilical cord, but regardless, it's still like starting to pump some form of blood around its own body, right? Learning the ropes.
But why is that the defining characteristic? That sounds very arbitrary. Because for example, what if I just told you the kidneys, when the kidneys start functioning? So what difference does that make? What different? It's like the heart. I get I get the part that symbolically, it's whatever. But that's not a real reason. There's no logic as to why that should be the line where people should be allowed to abort it or not.
I agree. Probably 12 weeks, because that's what Europe allows, isn't it? 16?
I'm not sure where Europe allows it. I mean, there's a lot of countries, so I'm sure some of them don't even allow it to begin with. But like, that's you're appealing to a higher authority. That's not an argument either. I mean, not in this case, at least.
What in your opinion is the best age to allow abortion, or were you be willing to accept that, and why?
That's why I started off with, I prefaced this with the fact that morally I think it's wrong for conception, and I think legally it should be also at conception for this because of that, because morally it is at conception. But I'm willing to hear out an argument for why it shouldn't be. But as of now, I stand with at conception it should be banned.
I mean,
as
what do you
no
say
abortion.
to people who just disagree with that point, that it's not conception?
Well, that's why I would have to probe them to see why it is that they think. And like, so far, 100% of the time, they've been incorrect. It's just been misinformed.
In what sense? What's
whatever reason they give you doesn't make any sense. So I've had heartbeat, brainwave, consciousness.
I mean, you can't
everything
define
besides
consciousness because you can be born and have no consciousness.
Well, I mean, consciousness is based on brainwaves, so that's why they base it on, which is around like 18 weeks, give or take.
You can have brainwaves and be a fucking vegetable.
Well, that would be my argument, but like, no, but no, not exactly. Like, if you have no brainwaves, then you're a vegetable, and legally speaking, you are dead. But it's not impossible for you to come out of that.
I'm pretty sure individuals with Parkinson's like have brainwaves, right? But they can't do shit. Like,
no, Parkinson's is just like inhibiting. It's damaging.
No, late stage Parkinson's. Like you're
even at the end, you never go veg. No. You still have activity. There's just no connection.
Oh no, yeah. There's still activity, but like you're.
Yeah, what I'm saying, okay, like for example, let's say at 18 weeks, so to the day, that's when brainwaves begin. That's what the consciousness argument is based on. That the second that you have brainwaves, that's it. You're no longer allowed to do so.
And then at what age is that?
Give or take 18 weeks.
18 weeks.
Give or take.
Okay. So that's what they argue for consciousness.
Yeah.
And why do you disagree with that? Like why shouldn't you be allowed to abort at 18 weeks?
Okay. See, that's probably, that is one of the most convincing arguments I've heard in the pro-abortion side. That's why I wanted to bring that up. And like, I mean, I don't know if that's what you have so far. It sounds like you kind of just all over the place and you haven't thought about it too much. But that's the most convincing one. That's the most convincing one because of that. Because if you're allowed, okay, let's say you had an individual who went into a coma and they're legally declared brain dead since they have no brainwaves, they're in a vegetative state. So, organs are functioning, everything's functioning, but the brainwaves is out, nothing. There's nothing on there. Is it fair to at that point pull the plug? Legally speaking, that's how we stand now. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
So at least legally speaking, that would be the most what's the word? What's the word, man? When it's when you're consistent. There you go. That would be the most consistent position. It still wouldn't be morally correct because it's still a human from conception.
Right.
But that, legally speaking, that would be the most consistent.
Can I ask you a question? So let's say your father, right? Let's say your father is just brain dead, right? He's in a bed, can't move, can't walk. He's been that way for like a year or two. Doctors have tried everything they can. Would you put him down like a dog, or would you allow him to continue living? Because you're going to face the same moral dilemma that you face when you're killing an unborn child that you don't even know.
No, an unborn child with no consciousness, so an unborn child with no brainwaves.
No, correct.
Yeah, here's the thing. So I'll give you the counter to that, but I'll tell you why. Like I'm split. So yes, we can definitely touch on another day.
I know that's technically another topic, but
I'll grant you this. I'll grant you this. I would. So I am for euthanasia. I am certainly for euthanasia in particular cases.
So then
but here, I'll give you the counter. I'll give you the counter for the baby. So the counter for the baby is that you have no prospects in a person that is in a vegetative state. So if you go to a coma and you have no brainwaves, there is there is a more likely guarantee, at least with an extremely good certainty, that that person will never come back from the coma. Well, not impossible. It is almost with 100% certainty that there is no chance they're coming back. Not impossible, but it is almost certain. So you are allowed to, pull the plug. Now, in the case of a baby that still has no brainwaves, they are on the opposite direction. You're no longer looking at a being that is going to die. The potential is that they will almost with guarantee get it at 18 weeks. So if they told you that your father, more adapt, analogy would be if your father went into brainwaves and they told you, okay, in 18 weeks, exactly 18 weeks, he will regain consciousness. Do you pull the plug or not? And obviously the answer is no.
Depends on how you treat me. No.
But
yeah, obviously the answer is no.
Yeah. So that's why the consciousness argument fails in my eyes. I don't see a way around that. That's what a lot of people, like the more rational people that will go for abortion, that's what they stand on. For example, Destiny, that's what he stands on. And he has no counter to that. He has no counter to why he was asked.
I think it's very hard to state. I mean, it's pretty hard to counter that.
I mean, maybe there's a way. I'm not saying there isn't. So that's why I'm willing to hear you out, but that's so far, that's where that argument falls short. So if you're willing to grant that, then you would have to reestablish your position elsewhere.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just out of sheer convenience that your body, your mind is telling you like, no, like let's allow it just in case I need to have it, sort of situation. Like facing the harsh reality that you're having a kid now. That's just it.
Yeah, and your counter to like, oh, mistakes happen is like, well, maybe you shouldn't be having sex.
Oh, as in like like why it is that like essentially yes, that's what it is. I'm not gonna like tiptoe around that. Like if you're not ready to have a kid, then you shouldn't be having sex. That's what like the brutal.
But like, dude, it's that humans are not like that whatsoever. I mean, it's like from a logical perspective, you're absolutely right that like yes.
It's a possibility. No matter what type of contraception you use.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a chance. So if you're not willing to have a kid, then you shouldn't be having sex.
Now, do you think people realistically all follow that?
Well,
in an ideal world, not have sex.
For example, let's say we made abortion illegal tonight. Does that mean that there's going to be no abortions? No, but there's going to be a lot less. So,
I guess the argument Dude, I disagree, dude.
Well, you can't just disagree and then not give a reason.
I just think a lot of back alley abortions are just going to occur.
Let me ask you something. I want to clarify if it's. I'm going to give you an out. So if I were to become a dictatorship tomorrow, it would be a dictatorship and I'm the ruler, and then I were to outlaw abortion, but at the same time I would give you a paper abortion. So I would give all fathers paper abortions, meaning I would give you the chance on birth you could just not be the child, not be the parent, not be the father. You're no longer legally liable for anything at all with that child. You don't have to visit, you don't have to talk to them, you don't have to pay anything, nothing. You're done. You're cut off. You don't have to like give money for nothing. You're just done. Right from the get-go, you find out she's pregnant, you sign the paper, you're done. No contacts. You could even like establish a what do you call this when you don't want another person to get close to you, like they abused you or something. Restraining order. So let's say I granted you that. Would you still be against abortion? Let's say I granted it to every guy out there. Would you personally like still be against abortion? I mean, before abortion.
Yeah.
Do you now, part 2 question, table out your answer for now. Do you think most guys will still be for abortion?
Yes.
I don't think they would.
I mean, we're gonna have to get
Guys, not women. Guys.
No, I know.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have anything to back that up, but nothing but.
I think people are going to have a consciousness and be like this.
It's what?
I think it's going to be a lot of fucking children out there.
Yeah. In adoption.
Because people, if there are no consequences to like actions like that, people are going to be fucking not pulling out and being like, yeah, who's fucking my problem?
Yeah. So it'll fall back on women to, be the sexual selectors that they are and say, yeah, I'm not gonna fuck this deadbeat.
That's fair.
I think a lot of guys would I almost guarantee, because a lot of people know that it's wrong. Like they innately know that it's wrong. If you can logically arrive at the same conclusion, obviously that's the only conclusion that you can arrive at, that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's not a thing. It's not a good thing. Nobody says, "Yeah, I'm gonna have an abortion for fun." It's a bad thing. Nobody likes that. It's traumatic for women, and it's and everybody knows.
Out there in the world.
No, there's not. They're cap. They're literally coping. There's just no way. It's like saying, yeah, I'm just gonna, I suppose. I mean, unless you're trying to make the case for like killers, like they think that murdering is okay. Then there you go, whatever. Like you can make the same case for abortion, that they're just having fun because they think it's funny, or they enjoy the process of killing another human. But they know innately that it's wrong. So I think a lot of guys, nothing to back that up, by the way. I have no statistics on that. I'm just like I know that's where I was sitting, so I know that's where a lot of people were sitting.
I see.
You follow? But now let's get back to your point where you think that you would still be for abortion, even if I gave you your paper abortion, so you'd be able to opt out. Now, you're for abortion. Why? Because a woman could just, let's say I granted you also the extreme scenarios, so incest, rape, all these 5%ers, that's what they make up. They make up less than, actually I think it's less than 3% of all abortion cases. So let's say I granted that too. Now for these other 97 to 95% of all cases, why are you for abortion? They could always just adopt, give it up for adoption. There's no repercussion for
At
that.
the end of the day, somebody has to carry that term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they may be put in a position where like, they didn't even really want to carry the term, and like forcing somebody to.
It's too bad. It's already a human. There's like, there's no way around that. There's no way you could make an argument against that. It's already a human.
I know, no, it's impossible to.
Mm-hmm. So like,
It's kind of hard to argue for abortion when like I don't know. I guess it's more of a feeling that people get when they want to like say, hey, I think it's okay, right? Because people aren't going to stop having sex. People aren't going to stop like.
here's the thing. The feeling that you're describing is the feeling of responsibility. That's it.
I understand.
As in, if I gave you the option now of being like, I know you robbed that store, but you were hungry, so I'm gonna give you the option to not go to jail. That's what abortion is. Would you willingly go to jail? No, who the fuck would? But you're fucked. You robbed the store.
Do you really think people are capable of like fighting their biological need to fuck?
Nobody said that you
At
can't
that deep of a
fuck.
level?
Nobody said that you
No,
can't.
yes, but if you do fuck, you have to deal with the consequences.
Correct. Yeah. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Financially, if conditions were better, do you think we would see less abortions?
So I could give you some stats to back up the reason why I don't think so. But
Okay.
well, I think it's something like 70% of all abortions, first through like late second term in the states that allow it, they allow they. Okay, so the issue is that these stats also have to come from across these. No, in some states, yes. In some states, they allow up to third, like up to the day before, bro. So it's real fucked up. But in any case, the stats that I'm giving you now is
Does any
most.
allow the day after? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there's
The day after born?
there's a there's a scholar. I think his name is Peter something. He wrote and he's like the least hypocritical person that I know that argues for abortion, because he pretty much states that if you're allowed to do it before, you should be allowed to do it afterwards up to a certain point as well, because there's literally no distinction between it. So if you're allowed to give birth
Imagine
before,
some mom dealing with some postpartum depression. She's like, fuck you.
Essentially.
Abort.
essentially, I think he stated that something up to like 2 years, bro, like something super ridiculous like that.
That's wild.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
wild.
But there are Peter something. I'd have to get you his name later. But number
He
eight.
probably felt very vindictive towards his 2-year-old. He's like,
He's not saying that we should. He's just saying that if you want to be consistent, that's the position that you should have.
I see. No, I understand.
But there are people that have argued for being allowed to abort your baby right after it's born. Like you didn't want to deliver it, you want it killed. There are people that have argued for that. And not just like a random nerd on the street. Like there are scholars that have tried to push for this to happen, like for legislation to happen. In any case, the stats that I wanted to give you earlier is based overseas, because in the U.S. there's no federal mandate to report the reason why you're having an abortion. So I can't tell you exactly 60% of all abortions are elective, but people do. Whenever we do these polls, That's what we find in the U.S. and also across the seas. In Europe, I believe it's either 60 or 70% of all abortions that are performed are electorate. So when you click electorate, that would be for they always give you a reason to choose from because you're serving it's a survey that you're filling out. So it's when you're picking electorate, it's pretty much like financial or you're just not ready or
Correct.
you don't know the daddy,
Yeah.
something like along the lines of that. So
Emotional
most of those
shit.
abortions are there, and they're electorate. Most of them are under that. So if you're asking me if do I think if there was a better financial system to help, which by the way doesn't even
There
make
is a
sense
lot
to
of
start
support.
with. It doesn't even make sense to start with. For example, if I created a financial because of what I said, because if I created a financial system that said I will pay with the government will pay 100% of all your medical bills for the term for your pregnancy for the terms of your pregnancy. After it's born, you can just give it up for adoption, like nothing ever happened. I mean, besides obviously the biological changes and everything that you had to go through, but that's the price
Right.
that you pay. But it would still be the same thing because of what I mentioned. It like most elections are because of electoral reasons, not because of financial
Quick
reasons.
question. So in the scenario that you're saying, where like you have everything financially given to you,
Mm.
right? Sorry, if you carry the baby out to term, you don't have to keep it. You can have like a restraining order on it or whatever.
Mm.
In this
The
scenario,
hypothetical for
if
that, yeah.
a medical situation happens to a woman, would you then be allowed to abort? Like, let's say she's 7 months and she's literally gonna die if she keeps the baby.
There's no
Is it
medical
an OL?
condition in which an abortion is recommended. Like
There have been.
no, there's not.
Wait. No. There
Yeah,
have been cases where like
it's like a talking point on the left, but it's not true. There's no medical condition in which an abortion is the solution to the medical condition.
no, like it. There has been scenarios where like kidney failure on a woman or whatever, right? Her liver's shot, and then like if she continues to carry this baby, we cannot give her proper treatment. She's gonna die.
No, it's internal. Uh, what's the word? Internal.
I've
whatever.
seen
Put
a
it in
bunch of
ICU.
these things. I've seen a bunch of things online where
You can
people are
you can
legit.
literally be hooked onto a machine that will filter your blood for you for indefinitely.
Again, I don't know the exact cases, so.
There's
Okay.
no. Even if you do, I'm telling you now, not just from the abortion perspective, but from a scientific perspective, like a medical perspective. Obviously, I'm in the field. There's no condition that requires an abortion in order to solve that condition. So you can treat the mother. If the baby dies in the process, that's not an abortion. You get what I'm trying to say? The same case, for example, I'll toss you a bone. The ectopic pregnancies. So that's when the baby is implanted elsewhere inside the womb.
Yeah, I know.
You're not, if you have to remove that egg that was implanted elsewhere, you're not doing it to kill the baby. Like if you can't reimplant that on the womb, that's not your fault. You follow?
Mm.
But if you leave that in there, the mother will die. So you have to take it out. There's no other option. So the day
Right.
that we have the medical advancement in which we can reimplant the baby on the womb, which I mean we could try. It's just not. It's more than likely not gonna
Not
work.
gonna work.
Correct. Then whatever. It's sad. It's a sad event. The baby died. It is what it is. And like legally speaking, if it's under I believe 20 weeks, it is considered an abortion. But that's not how we colloquially use the word abortion.
Right.
As in, it's not the intentional killing of the baby. You're not intentionally killing anything. You're removing the baby because it's in a position where it will kill the mother. So it has to come out. There's no ifs and or buts about it. But therefore, it's not an abortion.
I see.
Yeah.
No, because those are the cases I've seen of like.
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
we're going back. This is also included within the 5% of the medical cases. 95% of all doesn't happen. The mortality
Right.
rate for women in the United States is something like 17 out of 100,000. And just so you're aware, for example, driving in Michigan, you have a 19 and 100,000% chance to die. So it's more dangerous to drive than it is to have a kid. You get what I'm saying?
I see.
Yeah.
I thought there were some cases in like some of these states where they banned abortions, like Texas, where the mother was trying to, like, doctors were refusing to abort even though the woman was probably gonna die.
No, it's not true. Misinformation.
I see.
Which,
So
by the
sure
way,
enough.
legally speaking, if that did happen, I would condemn it all the same. Like, let's say it did, right? Ectopic pregnancy, a woman wasn't allowed to get it, and she fucking dies. I would. That's obviously wrong.
Yeah, of course.
But give doing an abortion is not. For example, I think I know what you're talking about. It was a woman that was in Texas and she ended up having to leave the state to have the abortion.
Yes.
But I don't remember the specific condition, the medical condition that she had as to why she wanted the abortion. But well, you know what? If you bring it up, we can discuss it. I'm not gonna like start making a whole argument on something that I'm not 100% on. But I almost can guarantee you that that's not true.
Okay. How about, have you ever heard the argument that women should be allowed to get abortions because it allows them to be selective with their genetic offspring?
I mean, it would be.
That's very eugenics.
I mean, I guess not just women, like both parents, right? So like if
Yeah.
like for example, if you were to find out that your baby has, because you do certain testing at certain stages of your pregnancy. So when you're 9 to 11 weeks old, you do a tap, and then you find out, I believe at that point, if they have like I forget exactly which one is at what stage, but you have one at 9 to 11, you have one at 18, and you have another one at 27 and like 35. So the one at 9 to 11 is pretty much like the first marker where you're like, okay, this baby's not gonna fucking make it. Like it's fucked. It's like spinal bifid or something. No, spinal bifid I believe is done like at 18 weeks old. But at 9 weeks there's one to check for, I think, trisomy 17, I think it is. That's just not compatible with life. Like it won't make it. It won't make it. And you know, there's certainly cases to be made for those situations. So those are situations where, like, is it
I
eugenics?
have a question.
Uh-huh.
Let's say, in theory, in this scenario, like you are allowed to have like abortions or whatever.
Mhm.
Do you think the male should be allowed to also state whether he wants the abortion or not? Do both parents have to agree?
No, I'm not for abortion, so I can't say that I would agree with that. But as it stands now, I think it should be that way. If we're gonna have to keep it, I think yeah, that should be it.
So if both people don't agree?
Correct. And at the very minimum, a paper abortion for the father. At the very
No.
minimum.
No.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why it's going to be really hard is like the woman can just get a friend of hers, right, to just be like,
Uh-huh.
oh, this is the guy who impregnated me. Like, there's no way to genetically test if that's true or not, so that'd be pretty hard.
Wait, what do you mean?
If both parties had to agree to do an abortion,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
You would, it would be hard to prove that like that was the actual person who impregnated her.
No, you could test. I mean, not at the beginning, obviously.
No,
Like, not
exactly.
not for at least what is it? I think it's 9 weeks. I think at 9 weeks you could test. Oh, I think I remember now. I think at
You
9 weeks
do
what you're
DNA
testing
test
for
at 9 weeks?
is the fetal protein, something like that, like mother fetal protein, some shit like that. 9 weeks.
Yeah, but you can't tell who the father is at 9 weeks.
I believe you can. I think.
No way.
I think. Yeah, there you go.
Serious? That's pretty lit. Shout out to science.
Shout out to science. He says. Just put the hand up. You heard my guy? Put the hand up.
Oh, you have to put your hand up?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
No, it does. We're not gonna have like 15 goons in here coming up. I mean, if you want to come in something and say something quick, whatever. But like if it's like gonna be like for a point or like talk back and shit, then yeah, put the hand up. What do you call this? In any case, like we're going off topic. Like let's send it back to 95% of cases. Why should
Right.
they be allowed to do it?
At the end of the day, since I'm also with you in the fact that I think it's morally wrong, I think it's pretty hard to argue because the only reasons that you can argue for it are the fact that people just feel like it should be done.
Yeah, they don't want the responsibility, but it
Correct.
sucks to suck. You don't want to go to jail either, but you have to. If you fucked up and you're getting arrested, you gotta go to jail. You can't just be like, but I don't want to. You just have to accept. It's just legally speaking, right now, you're allowed to get away with that. You're allowed to get away with them.
Something that's morally wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, it shouldn't be allowed. It kind of sounds like I won you over.
I mean, to be fair, I'm still for it because at
For
the end
it's
of the day,
95% of cases.
yes.
Why? You have to give me a reason, or at the very least, just admit that it's a hypocritical position.
No, at the end of the day, I think again it's wrong. I just don't think we should stop people from getting it.
Yeah, but you have to give a
Because
reason. If you don't give me a reason, you have to admit that it's a hypocritical position, because otherwise
oh
you
no,
know
I
it's
know
wrong,
it's
but you're still
hypocritical.
doing it.
I know it's a hypocritical position.
Okay, then that would be where you stand now. That it's a hypocritical position for convenience.
Jonathan, you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I do actually, because I sit on the exact opposite side of the stage. I don't think it's a hypocritical position to sit in. When you look at it, so, okay, when you look at abortion, you also have to look at the fact that, let's say you do force the person to have the child, right?
You're not forcing
Like,
anything.
you do. Okay.
Like you made that
I'm.
choice. You get me? I mean, I get what you're trying to say. Like you're trying to say
Okay.
you're not allowed to have the abortion. That's what you're calling it forcing, but that's not forcing. That's you're using language to frame it in that sense.
Well,
Because it was your choice.
not necessarily, though. And
Yes,
you say
necessarily.
95% of cases, but like,
Mhm.
things happen. Contraceptives don't work properly the way they do. IUDs fail. Shit like that happens, right?
Yeah, car
And
crashes
people
too, and you
don't want to
die.
have
It sucks.
right. People don't want to have kids, right? So you force somebody because you're forcing them at this point. They don't want to have the kid. They're not allowed to have an abortion. You're forced
You're
to
not.
have
You
the
don't
kid.
want to have the car accident either, but it still happens. That's why it's an accident.
Okay, Peter, but
Mhm.
the car accident
Mhm.
and having a kid don't really equate because
Why not?
a car accident, okay, they're both
You can take your
accidents,
time. You
right?
don't have to. You don't have to give me an answer immediately. If you want to think
They're
about it, that's
both
fine.
they're both accidents, but you can't really compare the two. First and foremost, without the mother, the fetus isn't going to survive. Second of all,
True.
you can't deny that they are forced, right?
No, I can't.
Like you
It's
can't
it's
you
framing.
can't
That's framing. You're not forcing.
that's not for okay,
Mhm.
dude. If I don't have the mental capacity to take care of a kid and you are not allowing me to get an abortion, right?
Mhm.
Like I am not physically willing to take care of this kid, right? And I'm
Mhm.
not also not willing to bring a kid into the world to get thrown into a freaking orphanage or a family center
Yeah, but
in order to hope they get adopted and find a better life. Most of those kids end up suffering for their entire lives.
well,
Like
that's not true.
a good portion of those kids end up in the system
That's not true.
struggling. Bro, dude, look up. All you have to do is look up the statistics
Do
of
you
how
want?
many kids are still in homes,
Well,
like
sure.
homes,
So it does
trying to
happen,
get
but
adopted.
for every baby that is born, there are 3 couples out there. No, 18. I'm sorry, 18 couples out there, waiting to adopt that baby. So putting it up for adoption, 100% an option.
Right, right. Waiting to adopt.
Yes.
That's another entire problem in itself.
That's what I'm
That's a
saying. Most
discussion
kids
in
that are born are not going into adoption systems. The kids that are going into adoption systems are kids that lose their parents, kids that are taken from abusive parents. That those end up in the adoption system for a really long time. Not to say that we shouldn't, readjust the and and
right,
improve
but
and ameliorate the.
a lot of those kids are born and end up in that system
No, they don't.
because of parents,
No, they
bro.
don't. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Because of parents
18
who
parents
are
out there, 18
neglectful,
couples
bro.
waiting to
Peter,
adopt,
can I finish speaking?
but it's not true.
Dude, just because 18 couples are waiting to adopt doesn't mean that they're waiting to adopt the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old
True.
that fucking had a shitty life because his parents
True.
didn't give a fuck about
True.
him.
But
Okay?
at
Right.
birth,
Most
they want
okay,
that
yeah.
baby.
But most people don't end up just putting the kid up for adoption right away, which is where the prime time for a baby to get adopted is.
Okay, hold on a second.
Okay?
Hold on a second.
Babies are
Hold
the
on.
thing
Hold on.
are the target for adoption.
Yes.
Most kids past the prime age of toddler
Mhm.
have a much lower chance. They do get
True.
adopted, don't get me wrong,
Not
but they
true. I
have a
grant it. I grant it. It's true.
much
It's
lower
true.
chance
You're right.
of
It's
getting
true.
picked for adoption, and they
It's true.
suffer.
It's true.
And
It's true. I
the
agree with you.
system, as it is right now,
Sucks.
does not support them.
Yeah, it's ass.
Now,
It's ass. It sucks.
I wouldn't support abortion Like
But hold
this
on,
is where this is my issue with
you like
abortion.
went over the
Not
line. You
right,
argued against a point that's not even on the table. You're arguing for
right.
kids
No,
that
but
are like after toddlers, right? Like don't, yeah,
right.
100% agree.
But a lot
But
of those kids,
babies almost always 100% chance adopted. It would have to be some
right.
anomaly where they have Down syndrome or something like that where the parents don't want to adopt.
But Peter, for the most part, most people who are like who give birth don't and who did want an abortion who weren't able to don't just give the baby away. They end up trying. They end up maybe coming to terms with it, right? But at the end of the day, they didn't want a kid. At the end of the day, they didn't want to raise
Well,
a
what
kid. And
happens
at the
down
end
the
of the
line?
day, that feeling is
Mhm.
going to overpower everything else. Trust me, I can tell you this from the standpoint of someone who does not want kids.
That's fine.
Like,
But if you want abortion before it's born, and let's say you took it to term, and now you want to keep the kid, that's entirely on you.
right,
There's also
but
parents out there that
I'm
they do
saying if
want the
you
kid. The kid is born and then they abuse the kid. It sucks, but it happens.
right, right, but
So
I'm
if
saying
it's
if
either
abortion is
abortion
illegal,
or you have it, and what's wrong with having it, with keeping it? If you have it and then you regret, like, oh, I'm glad I didn't abort it. I want to keep him. I
it's
want to
not.
keep my
But it,
baby.
okay, right, and
There's nothing wrong with that.
some people do have that feeling, but the vast majority of people who do not want kids and are forced because of their state or whatever, because of laws, to have kids, end up just making the kids suffer, right?
It
So,
happens.
in my opinion, in my opinion,
Hmm.
I don't think it matters as much
Hmm.
abortion because and mainly I'm not like I have no religious stance on this. I because
I don't either.
I don't think I don't think religion has any stance in this.
I
I think
disagree, but that's okay.
at the end of the day, women, it's the whole their body, their choice thing. Yes,
That's
but
dumb.
I guess, bro. Do you have to carry the baby for 9 months? Do you understand the debilitations, the fact that you can die giving birth?
Like I
Like
said,
you understand, man?
17
There's a
in
risk of
California, one of the highest tax, 17 women out of 100,000 die through childbirth.
right.
17.
Because childbirth is far safer now, but
Yeah.
there's things
So
that
mortality
come
is not
with
really an
childbirth.
issue.
Right. Mortality is not the biggest issue. It's still there.
It's
Right.
non-existent
But
essentially. It's
right.
17 out of 100,000. That's nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. You have a lot of issues that come with pregnancy other than death, though.
True.
You have post. You have post. What is it called?
Postpartum depression.
There you go.
Yes,
That's
true.
the word I was looking for.
That's true.
You have postpartum depression, which ends up there's a not a huge percentage.
No, you could go years with a depression. It could never be
that
cured.
end up never coming back from it.
True.
They end up killing themselves,
True.
which does not help the baby either.
True.
So like there's a long list of things, and a lot of people have predisposed dispositions to get these things. A lot of these people don't want kids, and yeah,
But so
they
far,
wanna
none of
have
these
a
arguments have like any support whatsoever. It's just it can happen. Which, granted, yeah, it can. Now, I'm not saying it cannot. It can, absolutely. But there's no backup to this. You're not basing this on any
But
real
I don't think
evidence.
it's morally wrong.
Okay, you don't think
It's
abortion is
not
morally
actual-
wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No.
you weren't here for the beginning of the conversation. So like, there's no art. Okay, so when would you say life begins? When would you want to state that life begins? I mean, I don't want to get you in a gotcha, so I'll just tell you from the get-go. It begins at conception. Biologically speaking, it begins at conception.
Biologically speaking, yes, it begins at conception. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you
Okay.
down. But what do you actually consider a living human being? A fetus that can barely like function outside of the mother's womb because it's a parasitic existence until
It's not parasitic.
born. It's literally parasitic.
No, I'm gonna save you like the trouble. Like, I really don't want this to be like a gotcha or anything like that. It's not. Like, it's just. Remember, my undergrad was biology. It's not. That's not the definition of parasite. I don't want this to be a gotcha. We can research this, and I promise you, that's not right.
Calling it.
Okay.
I'm not calling it parasite. But
Okay.
the way that it exists, it does leach nutrients
It
from
does.
the mother.
It does.
It
Well,
does not
not-
give anything
sure.
back to the mother.
It
in
does.
a, like substance.
Yes, it does.
Okay. In like what?
Immune system.
Okay. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
nutrition wise.
Yes. Like the mother's immune system is, I believe, the status like 1.5 times better than what it was.
Right. But it's still leaching nutrients. It does not
It
give
is
back
leaching nutrients. It does. It does
It's
give back.
leaching nutrients. Dude, how does it give back nutrients?
What I
It's
just said.
using them.
How do you think it's improving the
Okay,
mother's immune system?
Right. But that's through white blood cells. That's completely irrelevant to
It's not.
her nutritional health.
It's not. It's not. I'm telling you, like, there's no point in arguing the parasitic point. It's a dead end. I promise. Like, you can research after and you can come back in, but I would highly suggest to move on from that one because it's not true. Like, it really isn't. I promise, dude. I promise. We can talk about it again on the next one if you like. If you think that I'm wrong and you research it and you find out I'm wrong, you can show me why I'm wrong. But I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that it is wrong. So like if we go back to where we were, which is, if life begins at conception, like what is it that you're considering? Why is it that you don't consider it life? Like where would you personally, not legally for other people, right? Where would you personally, were you to be a woman, say, okay, I am allowed to do it up to this day or this week?
The placenta really does act like a parasite.
It doesn't, man.
The placenta uses a cloaking device similar to that used by parasites to avoid detection by the mother's immune system. MRC-funded scientists
The mechanism to which it does, because if you don't have the placenta and you have a distinct human blood inside of you, what happens if you get a blood transfusion from something you're not compatible with? You reject it, right? So you kill the baby. So biologically speaking, you must have that in place. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have children. And that's across the entire, yeah.
But that's the same thing with
I'm telling you, dude, for real. Like you don't want to go down this line. Like you're not gonna win this. Yeah, okay, all right, perfect. So let's move on. So where would you personally consider that life begins? Because you agree that it is a conception. Technically, I'm gonna give you this. Technically, there is a new life, right?
When the baby's developed enough where you can have a what the fuck is it?
Give me something that maybe I'll help you. Like outside of the womb, maybe? Is that what you mean?
Premature. There we go. That's the word.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so like premature, usually like after 20 weeks. That's when they can live outside of the womb.
I personally wouldn't allow abortion past 3 months. Like that's the way I see abortion. Like you
The first trimester, 12 weeks.
The first 12 weeks, if you haven't made that decision, then that's it. You made the decision to keep the baby. Like,
How come?
that's the way I see it.
How come? Hold on, Danny wants to come in. Let me put him up in here.
Because I genuinely don't think a baby that's younger than 3 weeks.
Hold on, let me see what Danny
First and
wants.
foremost,
Danny? Wait, one sec, John. One second. Just table it really quick. So I think Danny's is quick. What is it, Danny?
I think.
Is it quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, then I guess the question for you is, if you agree that it's at conception, right? That life begins at conception. Yes, no.
Yeah, I think we stay like I'm gonna give this to John. Technically, it does. Technically, it does. Yeah.
Under technicalities,
cells are dead. Like the cells are alive. Cells
correct.
Yeah.
duplicated.
So technically, it's alive, right? That's what you want to say.
So technically it's alive.
Okay.
So
It's
technically,
an organism. It
yes.
can't live by itself, but it's an organism. Yeah.
Correct. Is that considered killing? Sort of yes, right? So then when is it okay to kill? Is the question.
I'm not saying because it's killing, it's wrong, right? There's killing that is
No,
right,
of course not.
right, Jonathan? So there's killing that is justified. So you can absolutely make a case. You can definitely make a case. I just haven't heard a good one. But you can absolutely. I'm not saying just because it's killing, it's wrong. That's not my argument.
I don't necessarily see it as murder per se.
Well, I would, but I mean, you can make your case. So you were saying that personally, you believe that 12 weeks should be the max, personally.
Right.
So why is it 12 weeks?
Because at that point you have development enough to where theoretically you could continue the growth of the baby realistically outside of the womb.
Not really. It's at 20 weeks. It's not at 12.
I know not at 12, but like at that point, like you were almost crossing the threshold. And at that point, first and foremost, it's way more.
I see. So you want to be on the safe side
traumatizing.
of,
Well, it's
for example, like
more of a
this is what I'm
more of a
understanding
traumatizing experience. Though, the way from my understanding,
how the abortion is performed.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a far more
It
traumatizing
is.
experience to
It
both
is.
the mother and whoever's performing it. Honestly.
True.
Like
It is true.
It's not.
It is true.
It's not a fun procedure, but most medical procedures are not something that's like nice to look at.
So let me
Realistic.
let me get this right. So at 20 weeks, that's when they're legally considered, as of now, premature, and that's when they could technically live outside of the baby. That point on, usually they don't. They don't. It's just true.
Yeah,
They just don't.
make it.
But
And
they
that's
can.
just-
But they can. So what I'm hearing is that you want to go for 12 because you want to be on the safe side. So for example, 12,
Let's
there
say
is
the safe
no
side,
chance that they're gonna be living if they take him out,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right. So
But it's.
Mhm.
But I think at the end of the day, you have to consider what someone wants for their life. And accidents happen,
Mhm.
and yes, car crashes happen, but at the end of the day, that's what your insurance is for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you still gotta
you
take
use
responsibility for
car
the
crash
accident.
analogy. Right. You're taking responsibility, but your insurance is paying for it.
Yeah, that's fine, but you're still taking responsibility. You're gonna pay more for
Right,
insurance
but
premium, whatever it is.
your
In the case of
your
the
analogy still has someone at the background covering your ass. So if you wanted to go in that
No, not even, 'cause
direction,
they-
you still have that
you know, you
option.
kill somebody
So,
in a car accident, you could go to jail. So that's a different
Right.
responsibility.
You
So
could
it's
go
not a
to-
perfect analogy, 'cause that's why it's an analogy. But the point is
Right,
that
I know it's not.
yeah. So like the point is that okay, you are giving me 12 weeks because you say that outside of the body it can live.
Right, but you can't really I don't know. I still don't truly consider life personally because no matter what you do, the
Well, you either
chances
do or
of
you
it
don't.
surviving-
It's either alive or it's not.
I mean, okay. For me, alive means having consciousness. At the end of the day, being
So that's around
somewhat
18, 20 weeks.
having consciousness. Right. That's truly a living being. Now, can it use its consciousness? Not really.
Yeah, not even past
But,
12, the 20 weeks. It cannot.
Right.
Well, not technically. I mean, there's some studies that show that they could listen and shit, but it's
Right, they
it's
can
unproven.
hear things, but
It's
their
unproven.
processing
It's unproven.
truly hasn't developed. And just because, even then,
But like
they
you're hopping
probably
around.
can.
So far, you've been hopping around from point to point. So
Well,
you've
no,
been like
I'm
12 weeks,
still-
20 weeks, 18 weeks. Like, because if
Well,
it's
no,
consciousness
I
is
haven't
20.
changed- I
Okay.
haven't changed the weeks though. I'm still on
It's still 12.
thinking-
So it's either
Nothing-
that's the reason or it's not. You get me? Or is it because of multiple reasons? So for either the reason is because it is allowed to because it cannot live outside of the body. So it's a criteria.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's a list of things. Just like how I also don't think that frozen embryos
Mhm.
Can truly be considered life. Yes, it's a living thing. It can produce life, but it's not a conscious being that you can take things away from because it really doesn't have any autonomy. You know what I mean? I don't know. The way I see it is
You're talking like legal terms. Yeah.
Well, no, not even legal terms.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
giving
talking
a
about,
you're giving a
as
prescription.
No. What I'm trying to say is as a person, it can't even think. It can't have conscious thought. It can't do anything
So
with
Mhm.
itself, other than replicate itself. The cells are pretty much.
So like what I'm finding is that
trained to do.
you are giving a lot of different reasons and none of them co-align. Like for example, like living outside of like the body, that's 18 weeks. That's not 12. So it shouldn't be 12. It should be
Right.
18. Consciousness
But-
also 18. Being like autonomy. That's a legal term prescribed to the
Right.
being. It's not. It doesn't come descriptively from the being. You prescribe it to it. So that's not a good one either. Like. And I could counter each one and every one of those, depending on how you want to tackle them. And I'll tell you why I don't think that's correct.
I mean,
What do you want to
guess,
start
but,
with? So you want to start with the living outside of the body?
Well, no. Here, look. Let me explain why I say 12 weeks, other than my other points. My other points don't really have any actual decision on my 12 weeks thing because I could say 18 weeks, like you said, but
Yeah.
like my 12 weeks thing is just setting like a hard limit
Mhm.
at 3 months,
Mhm.
and that's it.
But
Like
it's
it's
arbitrary.
not even,
I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just
I mean,
arbitrary. It's random.
right. It is our. I mean,
I'm not
I
saying it's
wouldn't
wrong.
really call
Like
it.
I could
I
definitely
wouldn't
tell you
really
why I think
call
it's wrong.
it
Okay.
random.
Well, you
I
you
think
don't have
it's
a reason for it.
reasonable.
Like there's no.
I mean,
Mhm.
do I need to make it 18 weeks? Like, I don't know.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I want to bring you to my side to 0, but
Well,
like
you're not.
you have to have a
Never
reason
bring
for why
me
it's
to
at
your
12.
side.
I think I can change your mind. If you give me enough time, I think I can do it. If you're willing to accept that, that an opinion that you have is wrong, then yeah, I
listen
can
to
bring you
your
over.
opinion, and I don't think my opinion is wrong. I don't think your opinion is wrong either. I think we're all entitled to our opinion. I just don't think that your opinion is the right one.
Well, you can have an opinion on anything you like, and it doesn't have to be wrong. But when your opinion intervenes in somebody else's life, then it can be wrong. It can certainly be wrong, right? So we can certainly grant that, like for example, autonomy.
Mother when she doesn't want to be.
Well, you're not forcing them. That's again framing. But in any case, let's go back to the 12 weeks. Why is it 12 weeks?
You're taking their ability to live without having a child away.
No, they did
Like,
that.
what do you mean? I mean, you could say that,
No, you-
but do
yeah.
you know how many people I know
Mhm.
that have had IUDs that have gotten pregnant?
Yeah, it sucks, dude.
Like-
Responsibility. Take
Right.
responsibility for yourself. If
You
my
know,
my
IUDs
my
are
my
more
okay,
than
you want a 0%
99%.
chance of having a kid? Don't fuck. That's a 0% chance. I guarantee you are not gonna be the next Holy Virgin Mary. It's not gonna happen.
That's such a like weird way to like look at life, brother.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. If you want a 0% chance, that's it. That's that. If you want like a 1% or a 2%, IUD, all the different birth controls, all that stuff. That's your 1 and 2%. Like it's very very unlikely that it can happen. But when you take the chance, you have to take responsibility if it does happen. If you are that 1%, you have to take responsibility. If for example, if you were to like blindly close your eyes and just start tossing knives at somebody, well, why not? Because you have. Okay.
You say I have to take responsibility when right. There's a risk in everything you do, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you that you have to take responsibility, but when it comes to like this situation, it's a very life-changing situation, and
Sure.
raising a kid.
There's
is
lots
not
of
something-
situations that are unlikely to happen, but they can happen, like cancer.
Let me finish though. Let me finish.
Sure. I'm sorry.
There's a lot of people that I don't think should raise kids. There's a lot of people that I don't think should have ever had kids.
I agree.
Right? Like in my honest opinion, and
I
I
agree.
think abortions are for those people. Like genuinely, if you don't want a kid,
Mhm.
you can have all the fun in your fucking life, bro.
Just
And you have to live with the fucking fact that you aborted the baby. At the end of the day, that's your trauma. That's your problem. Like I think
I mean,
everybody
yes.
should be free to do whatever the fuck they want in that situation.
With that same reason, you
As
could kill
long as they
anybody,
have
as
that
long as it's not
option.
you.
No.
Why?
That's not. That's you can't. What? No.
Why not?
Because at the end of the day, like I said, it is not a conscious fucking being at that point.
But you said 12. At 12, it's not. At 18, it is.
Okay.
So are you moving back to 18?
No, I'm not changing the number, bro. Like, it
That's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
really
So that's what I'm
matter.
saying. It doesn't really. You can't tell me like consciousness and then say a different number.
But I'm not worried directly about consciousness. I think
So there has to be a reason why you're saying 12. There has to be a reason why you're allowing it to begin with, because you know it's alive, and it will have consciousness down the line
it
eventually.
will have consciousness.
Yeah.
Something will.
Uh-huh.
become
With guarantee.
something.
With guarantee.
I need to make sure that that's what happens.
No, you just need to, you don't need to do anything. You just need to let it happen. It'll do it by itself. You don't need to do anything.
You know how many people have miscarriages on a regular basis? Like,
Sure, and it
you know
sucks.
how many babies just die
Yeah, it sucks.
in the womb?
Yeah, it
And
sucks.
that's treated as murder as well? Like,
No, it's not.
how is that the mother's fault? Yes, it is. There's literally a case of that
What-
happening.
What is it? What is it? Clarify for me. Maybe I misunderstood. Clarify.
That she was trying to abort the baby, and they basically set her up. She ended up having the baby abort, and it ended up in the toilet. I forgot what the fuck happened.
Is it the 13-year-old girl that had that like was pregnant and she went to the bathroom and then she like tossed it in the garbage? I think. Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Oh,
the
okay.
baby was in the toilet.
I might be misremembering. Like she put the baby in the toilet and let it die in the
No,
toilet,
she
something like
was
that.
on the toilet, and the fucking baby came out into the toilet, and like she didn't know what the fuck to do because the baby was dead. The baby was dead on like in her body already. Like, the
No,
baby was already dead
no,
in her
I
body.
think you're
Black woman, a black
mischaracterizing it.
bro. I am not mischaracterizing. I remember.
We'll find it. If you like to find it and
I'm
link it, that's
looking
fine.
at it.
Oh, what is it?
A black
Link it me,
woman
please.
was
Link me.
criminally charged after miscarriage. It shows the.
Link me, please, so I can read it with you.
I don't know if this is the exact one. I'm trying to make sure.
Okay.
But I'm looking at it.
Which, by the way, I don't agree with it, right? So, like, if she had an abortion, like a miscarriage, and then they tried her for murder, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's right.
But like that's the problem with abortion laws.
Well, I mean,
That
no, man. That's a problem with laws, period. Like, we kill innocent people with death row sometimes. It happens. It's very, very unlikely, but it can happen.
But if you want to talk about killing fucking innocent people, abortion is not the fucking like target, bro.
What are you talking about? The baby is innocent. It hasn't even lived. As your words.
Yeah, and then the baby doesn't get to live until it's born.
That's well. Now you're saying like up to birth. That doesn't make sense.
No, I'm just saying that until it's born out of the mother's womb and able to survive outside of it, it's not really a life, bro.
So now you're
Like, in my
giving it.
opinion,
Now
like,
you're
it's
saying up to
a
birth
life,
you're
bro.
allowed to. Okay, let's say not for you. Let's say how about this? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mischaracterized you. I'm sorry.
Like life.
Uh-huh.
Okay, like living off of fucking machines is not living life. Like the way
It
I
depends on
see
what
it-
machine, but yeah, I would generally agree.
Right. As a baby, if you're like fucking born halfway through pregnancy, you're not gonna survive no matter how many machines they connect to you.
No, that's not true.
Like-
You know that's not true.
Okay, your chances of surviving, no matter how many machines they connect to you, aren't that high.
They're lessened. Yeah, they're lessened. I agree. I definitely
they're far
grant that.
less.
Yes, I
Like-
grant that.
Right, and it can live. But
Yes.
like at the end of the day, that's just because of our medicine and the ability that we've come to have with bringing lives to fruition.
Okay.
That
You-
shouldn't
mm.
take away from someone's ability to choose.
Okay. You jumped around to a bunch of different points and then just made a conclusion, like arbitrary conclusion. There's just nothing to back that up. So here's what I want to do. So you say for you it's 12. So let's put your opinion aside. What do you think the majority, like the 95%, those that are outside of the exceptional cases like rape, incest, and all those things? So when should they be allowed? So you said 3 months, 3 months, 12 weeks for you. When is it for them?
What do you mean?
Because like for you it's 12 weeks. There's so far from what I haven't understood, there's no reason why it's 12 weeks. Now for this other people, the general public, because that's for you personally. Now for other people, when should they be allowed? Up to when should they be allowed?
Same thing I said.
Okay, so let's just go then with the 3 months. Now you have to justify that because now we're talking legally, right? So it's not just you personally. Like if you were a woman, when would you do it? Up to 3 months. After that, you wouldn't do it. Okay. Now for all people, you're ascribing the 3 month rule. So you have to justify that. There has to be a reason because if you admit that it is a life at conception, now you have to justify why you should be allowed to kill it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying you have to justify it. For example, if you're getting chased down by a guy with a knife, I 100% grant you self-defense if you kill him. 100%. You walk free. Nothing done to you. That's what I want you to do for abortion because if you now consider it's a life at birth, at conception, you now have to justify why you should be allowed to take that life away.
Dude,
So the 3 months, that has to have a reason.
brother, freedom of choice. That's all I have to say about that. Like the ability to choose.
Okay,
That is
that
is
pretty
the
much
only
leaves you
thing that
baseless.
matters. Like it's not baseless.
Well, then what is it? Like, because you can choose whatever you want. You can choose to kill yourself right now. Then you can choose tons of things. You can choose to kill other people. That's not a reason why it should be allowed. You're just saying like you can choose. Yeah, sure. You can choose to do whatever you like. It's not. It doesn't mean it's justified.
Okay.
dude,
Again, no rush, no rush. Think it through.
I already made like what I think about this. I genuinely
You did make
think that if
points, and we
someone
can
does
tackle them
not want to
individually if you
raise a
like.
kid, like bro,
You did make points.
my
I'm not saying you did it. You did make points. You said
my main
consciousness. Okay. Uh-huh.
right, and my main point is that if someone does not want to raise a kid, they should not be forced
Sure.
to
Put
go
it up for
through with
adoption.
pregnancy.
If you don't want to raise
They
the
should
kid,
not be
put it up for
forced
adoption.
to go through with pregnancy.
Yeah, but that's not a reason.
Right, no, it is. It's
It's
plenty
not.
of
You don't
reasons
want to
for
raise
somebody
it, put
to
it up
not
for
have to
adoption.
have a kid. Dude, postpartum depression,
Sure.
all the issues that come with pregnancy, the
Okay, hold on. Don't
hormones,
start
the
the same
fucking
like don't start down the diatribe. Let's tackle point by point. So let's go point by point. So do you want to talk about this one specifically? Like for example, the long-term repercussions of birth. Is that what you want to talk about first?
yeah, sure.
Alrighty. So for the long-term repercussions of birth, you have postpartum depression. So you could possibly even kill yourself, shit like that. How common it is? Not that common. Not as far as common as you would have been led to believe. Now, if you want to say that
Right, but when you put a baby up for adoption, that's gonna that I like. I don't
it
know.
could definitely have, yeah, it's a traumatic experience.
There's
You're
a
giving it
lot of
up. There's an
things.
innate
There's
feeling
a
it's
lot
wrong.
of
A lot of
things
things are wrong. Yeah.
that like that lead that to being more
Okay, but
difficult.
you cannot
Most
excuse your action now by saying there is a chance that something like this might happen. Because for that same reasoning, you would say, I'm going to kill you because there is a chance. Like, for example, let's say that you are, I don't know, black and you have sickle cell anemia, right? If you have black and you have sickle cell anemia, you are 2 times as likely to have leukemia at some point in your life. So you can't just go and kill them because you're saying you are likely to get leukemia, so let me just put you out of your misery now. You can't say, I'm going to do this action now because this might happen to you down the line. Yeah, that's not a reason. You can't do that.
right.
So you can't say they might have postpartum depression because they might not. You don't know. You can't say I'm gonna kill Hitler because you don't. Yeah.
If you're the woman in this situation and you really never wanted to have kids, but you're just living life, you're doing your thing,
Mhm.
and you have IUD, whatever, and like we're gonna go to an extreme example real quick. I know the IUD thing. A lot of people have IUDs, a lot of people don't.
The
Right?
5%, because I'm willing to hear you out, Doug. I'm not saying that it's impossible. Like for that 5% of cases where like
Let's say,
incest, for example, I'm here to hear you out. I'm willing
well,
to hear you
no.
out.
I don't give a fuck about incest because
You
like
would
those
allow it to
cases
happen?
are definitely extreme cases.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so what's your extreme case?
Like no, I'm talking about like not a super extreme case, but like an out there case. Like let's say you're a woman
Hit
that
me
has
with
an
it.
IUD,
Mhm.
right? And you are just living life. You have a partner here and then,
Okay.
and you don't want kids.
Okay.
You haven't wanted kids. You don't plan to have kids, but your IUD fails, right?
Okay.
You should have the freedom to choose to not have the kid.
No.
You shouldn't be
We,
forced
we went
by
over
law.
this. You
And
can't. You just
right,
because.
you say that,
Mhm.
but I'm taking like I'm using an IUD. It's a 99% chance to
Yes.
not have a kid, right? 99% chance, the
Yes.
whole thing,
Mhm.
right?
Let's say IUD
There's
and
still a
condom.
risk involved, right? And even then, that's still
Yeah, even less chances. It's what like 1 times 1%, 1% That's like 0.00001% chance. And let's say you still get pregnant, bro. It still happens.
let's say a miracle fucking happens, right?
Yeah.
I still think that they should have the right to choose.
Yeah, that's not a reason. That's not a reason. You can't just say because you can choose. That's not a reason. Because you could choose lots of things, and they're not justified. You could choose.
I mean, yeah, you could say that they're not justified, but you're not the person living that life. You don't have to go through 9 months of pregnancy, missing work. Your
Yeah, and like
career
people that
getting
get
stopped.
cancer, I'm not them either. I'm not the one with the cancer.
Right.
But it still happened. They still have the
Right.
cancer.
Like, are you gonna raise the kid, bro? Like, that's the thing. Like,
That's not
everybody
okay.
who,
Mhm.
right? I get that that's not an argument, but
Okay.
it's like it's crazy that like we're so adamant about women being forced to give birth because they're being forced. at
Was
that
I
point.
mean,
They
if men were
never
allowed to
have
give
the
birth, I
right
would have
to
the same.
give
If
birth.
the men were able to give birth, I would have the same opinion. We wouldn't be allowed.
I still would think that they're free to choose.
Yeah, but like choosing is not a reason, man.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's
I
not.
choose not to be a parent.
Yeah, I choose to kill you. Is that justified? Can I kill you because I chose to kill you?
and I'll kill you back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I believe that you would, but like you get my point. I will be tried under the law. Let's
What are you
say
gonna do? The baby's not a baby. It's not even
okay, well,
existing.
just because you can bully somebody doesn't mean that you should. Just because you can kill someone doesn't mean that you should.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh-huh. So
But
like just because a baby
I
can't do
also,
anything too. Hold on,
I
I think
also don't
Kev's.
think,
Oh, never mind.
I also don't think someone should be forced to be a parent if they don't want to. I
But
don't know. Like
they did it
there's
to
too many
themselves.
fucking.
You're not being forced. You just can't kill
They did it to
someone else.
themselves is such a terrible fucking argument.
It's
Because
not.
like, no, it is.
It's not. It's like if I told you, for example, if you went out and drove today and you got in a car accident, I would not be wrong to say you did it to yourself. You picked
Yeah,
up
but
your
if
keys
someone
and
hits
you went
me,
and
then
drove.
it's not my fault. How is that my fault if someone hits me?
You did it to yourself. You grabbed your keys and you went and drove. You went and drove. Who told you to
So
drive?
I should just lock myself in my home, like, bro. That's
No,
not
every
right.
time you go out into the world, you take a chance shit might go down. Every time I go to Walmart, I take a chance I might get shanked. But it's still my. I chose to go out. If it happens to me, it sucks. But it happened. I don't undo the stabbing or the car crash. I don't undo it. It happened. That's it. It's done.
I mean,
So
you can undo it. It's called going to the hospital, getting stitches, and getting fixed up.
well, no, you're remedying,
There's
but
always
but you're not.
there's a remedy to everything.
Yeah, but your remedy is
Whether
killing
or not
someone.
you think it's morally wrong, that's a different story.
But that's your remedy. Your remedy you're giving me is kill someone. The remedy I give you is give the
But see,
kid
the
away.
thing is that, can you talk to that someone? Can you have an intelligible conversation? Can you and that person?
But that's a different point. You can jump on it if you like. That's a different point. But it
But it's
is.
not a person.
Okay,
That's
so-
how I see it. I don't see it as a person.
Okay, sure, you're not granting it personhood, but I do.
Right, and that's fine.
Yeah, because it
I
from
I
okay,
think you're right, and just like you don't think I'm right.
okay,
I
but
mean, we can sit here all
okay,
day.
no, we cannot. Because listen, if you want to grant personhood at a certain point, you know who did that? Hitler. He granted personhood to certain people and not to other people, right? It's not saying that you cannot do it. You can, sure, but just like Hitler did, you're trying to do it to them. Or just like they did it to the slaves. Hey, that's not a person. That's 3/4 of a person. So you can do whatever the fuck you want with them. Same thing you're doing to the baby. But instead of just enslaving them, you're killing them. So now I'm not saying that you can, that there's not a reason for it, because killing is certainly justified in certain scenarios. I'm not saying there's not a reason for killing. You just haven't given me a justified reason. You just giving like, hold on, Kevin's here. Kevin?
Oh yeah, I got invited to go up, so I just want to put in my 2 cents real quick before I get another call. To that point about you were just saying about.
Wait, giving the point and you want me to reply, or you're just giving a point?
I wanted to add to it because you're going off
Add to who?
specifically
Mine or
on
his?
well, I guess yours, because you're like well, I guess his actually, since it was the point of he didn't consider it a person, all right?
Mhm.
And you try to compare that to Hitler saying like, oh, these group of people are not people.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's a fair comparison
Why not?
because what he's comparing to is a literal, it's not a person you can see in front of you. It is a fetus
Just because it's
inside
not
of
in
a
front.
body.
Okay, babies don't have object permanence. They don't realize that things are there once you take it out of their view.
Oh,
But they're
of
still
course,
there.
I'm not
But
trying to
they're
make an
still
argument,
there.
but
Just
I'm
because you
just
don't
trying
see
to-
the fetus or the embryo or the zygote, whatever stage it's at, doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there.
I'm not trying to argue that though. I'm just trying to say that comparison is not fair at all when you're comparing Hitler.
I know you have to go
as
quick.
a whole type of-
I know you have to go
Sorry,
quick.
what?
So I know you have to go quick. So I just want to let you know that you're
Yeah,
strictly
sure.
basing that off of emotion. Like I understand it comes off very repulsive because you're comparing somebody's viewpoint to Hitler, right? So it's very very bad.
No,
But
no,
it's just an
it
emotional
may not
response.
be-
That's
it
not a
doesn't
re-
have
you're
to
not
be
giving me a
Hitler.
reason.
I'm not trying to, okay, I just brought up Hitler because that's the example that got brought up, but it could be anything. Like, the point is, you shouldn't compare an actual full body life of a human that's been living on the planet for like 10 years to a literal fetus that's been inside a womb for months. I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Okay, so then you
That's
would have to
my-
talk about what point do you grant personhood, correct?
Yeah, you could have a conversation in which you've been having it for a while now, but I don't want to have that. I just want to say there is a definite difference between.
Oh, I agree. There's a
deciding
difference
someone
between a
should
10-year-old and a
die,
25-year-old,
and
right?
it's a 20 and a 20-somewhat-year-old person, as opposed to a fetus.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
think
I agree. There it is.
it's
It is
the
two
same
different things. You're just speaking analogies here. Because, for example, a 25-year-old is different from a 10-year-old, right? There's different people,
Of course,
different
yeah,
age,
but
right?
I-
Same scenario.
I just
Same
think it's a
scenario.
random age, though. But I could say a 10-year-old compared to a fetus, it still does not hold water. It's not the same thing.
Okay,
all of
then
these
you would have to
not-
give me at what point it's a different thing. Is it at 9 months? Is it at 6 months? Is it at 5 months? Is it at 1 month? Like when is
Definitely, I
when
would
is it that
prefer-
you grant? The question you want to arrive at is when are you granting personhood? So I grant
That really
personhood
is it.
at
Yes,
conception.
it really comes down to that question at the end of
It
the
is.
day,
It
and
is.
like it. I guess for everybody it's
Yeah,
different.
because
Some, I
when you
heard you
grant
brought up part
personhood, you grant
B.
them human
I
rights,
heard.
right? You grant
I
them the
really
right
like
to
the
live.
brain consciousness one at that point, but it's just like
We can talk about it next time when you have more time, if you like,
Yeah,
about
but
their
their
consciousness, and
rights
and
and I'll
then
tell you why it's wrong.
entirely dependent.
okay, that's fair. But I just want to bring up a point for you guys to discuss, and then I'm gonna go back down.
Mhm.
Ethically, do you guys think we should have more priority over the unborn life than the life of the mother when it comes to like finances and their personal health? That's the debate or the topic I want to bring up.
That's what he's
All
been
right.
trying to argue the whole time.
Okay. And I'm sorry, Esther, I wasn't here for everything. So you think ethically the baby should have more priority, the unborn baby?
There shouldn't be any like priority. Like the baby's just doing its thing. It's hanging out.
I
It's chilling.
get that, but regardless, when a decision is made, there is a priority when a decision is made.
Well, you're making the decision to kill the baby. You're taking away the baby. It's not the baby. It's what do you call it? It's like you are taking. Okay, it comes right back to there. If you can't get past the personhood, you can't argue for anything else. Because if you're not granting a personhood, then that's it. It's not a person. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want with it at
Yeah,
any
of course,
point,
of course.
right? So if you don't grant the personhood, whatever. Who cares if if you're aborted or not? But that's the problem. I'm granting a personhood at conception.
Yeah,
So you have to
that's
prove to me
aside.
why it's not a person. Because if you admit it's a
Ethically, should we
life, a
put
human
unborn?
life, huh? Yes, I'm sorry.
I
What
was
are you
just
saying?
gonna say, ethically, should we put an unborn child's life over the mother's? Like,
But
the
how are you
obvious
putting
one
it
is, like,
over?
the health of the mother. Like, let's say if she would have been a miscarriage, that she's in danger. I think we all agree. Obviously, we wouldn't let that go through.
I don't
But
understand what you're saying.
financially, like,
Clarify.
like if the childbirth might hurt the mother or kill them. Like, I think everyone. I'm not trying to argue that because I know everyone here would agree with that, right? Like,
An
you wouldn't want
abortion,
to-
again, I talk about this with Danny. I don't know if you guys were there for that portion, but an abortion, a medical abortion where you kill the baby, where you purposefully kill the baby, that's the definition of an abortion. That is never medically necessary for any medical condition at all. At all. Like
I mean,
no
you did
medical
all the
condition.
studies and stuff, so I trust you on this. I'm not well versed in it, so.
Now, I'm not going to trick you, okay? It's not a gotcha. Because it's not medically necessary doesn't mean that you don't just not kill the baby, right? So, for example, ectopic pregnancy. The baby took place instead of in the womb, elsewhere. In the fallopian tube, in the cavity, in the abdominal cavity, somewhere else. If that baby crows, that bitch is dead. Dead, dead. You got to take the baby out. If it's like, let's say 6 weeks and you can't reimplant it on the womb, then that's it. It's a tragedy. The baby dies. That's it. But that's not an abortion. You're taking it out to save the mom. You're not intentionally killing the baby for the mom. You get me? You're just taking
And of
it
course
out.
You're okay with that, though.
I am, because if you're taking the baby out to save the mother and you can't reimplant it, and we don't have artificial wombs, what the fuck are you supposed to do with it? It's not gonna magically grow. It's fucking gonna die. So it is what it is. It happens. It's a tragedy, but it happens. That's why it's not
And-
medically necessary. You get me? It's not a
Okay.
gotcha. It's like it's just a
No,
misinformation to say
it doesn't
that.
feel like I got you, bro. It doesn't.
Okay.
Don't worry, you're good.
All right, all right. But we're going back to our point. So if you want to, like what I was, how Kevin joined, and he stated correctly. If the question really comes down to when do you grant a personhood, and by when do you grant a personhood, I mean all the legal benefits that we get to enjoy. So for example, do you believe in human rights, correct? Like the right to live and shit?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like that's personhood. So when are you granting it their right to live? So you say you grant it at 3 months is what you're saying. I'm granting it at conception. Now you have to prove to me why it's at 3 months, because otherwise that means that you are killing someone. You are violating their human right if you don't justify it.
It's a person at 3 months.
Oh,
I
then,
wouldn't even say it's a person.
then when would you grant it?
Until it's outside of the womb and able to be either.
No, like
medically-
think about what you're saying, because like if you grant it personhood, that means it gets the rights to live, so you can no longer kill it. So if you're granting it
Right.
at birth, that means that you're okay with abortion up to birth, and I know you're not saying that. So it doesn't make sense, right? So personhood has to be at your 3 month mark, because you said after 3 months you're no longer allowed to have an abortion. Therefore, ergo, you're granting a personhood.
You're saying that, but I don't think the personhood and 3 month thing have to connect, in my honest opinion. That's what you think.
Well, but then,
And
like, how? Okay, then explain to me how you're justifying the not killing of a 3 month and 1 day old fetus.
I don't have like an actual justification.
Mm.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I can respect that, but
I think
like,
3
I think
months
you
is
just gotta think about that,
arbitrary.
dog.
3 months
Yeah.
is genuinely an arbitrary number. Like, I'm
It
not.
feels that way, and I
It is,
respect that. I
and
respect that. But all that's
and I'm
telling
not
me is
gonna
that you
sit
need to
here
like
right.
come to
But
a
I also
logical
think
conclusion.
right, and I guess, but I personally don't think the baby is a person until it could theoretically live without the help of outside like
That wouldn't even be birth, brother. That would be like
I mean,
like
right.
3 years old.
And not necessarily. No, because
Oh wait, I'm sorry. You said I'm sorry. In
I'm
my head,
talking
I
about like
skipped that. You said with
critical support.
machines.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah. I'm
critical
sorry. I'm
support.
sorry. So like 20
I'm talking
weeks.
about critical
Yeah, like 20
support.
weeks.
Because
Okay.
like if the baby can't survive just off of its own body,
Mhm.
I don't think it's first and foremost it can't live, or it has a medical condition, and that's a different story entirely. Or like that's it. Like at that point, it's alive. But like in the womb,
Okay, I can look. We can
genuinely,
talk about that
I
argument. Uh,
personally can't give it person because it
okay,
does not have
I can help you. All right. So listen.
probably halfway through pregnancy. It doesn't even have like conscious like thought.
Look, I can
Like at that,
steel man. I can steel man your argument, and I'll give you what you're. I'll give you a more fleshed out version of what you're talking about right now. But if that's the case, then you need to I need to know that you can come to a logical conclusion. Otherwise, it's pointless. Because, like, for example, like if you just tell me 3 months, because fuck it, why not? That's not a reason. If you're willing to change from that, I'm never gonna change my mind. Because you're saying no, I'm choosing this, and I'm never gonna change my mind about it. But if you're telling me that's the reason, then that would be at about 20 weeks. You know, the prematurity thing. So if you're telling me okay, then I'm okay with it up to 20 weeks. I'll change my mind. I'm okay with it up to 20 weeks. I can steal man.
I'll say that number. I'll give you that number.
Okay, so let me help you steelman your position. So that's called the most famous version of this is the violinist argument. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what you're saying essentially is that if the baby cannot live without the support of the mother, then it shouldn't be allowed to live. But now we're talking in terms of responsibility,
But that's
right?
not.
Uh-huh.
That is. I didn't say it shouldn't be allowed to live. I said they should have a choice.
Yeah,
At the
her
end of the
choice would be to
day,
kill it.
at the end of the day, it's the mother's choice, in my opinion, because they're the ones that have to carry the baby for 9 months.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I don't want to bad faith your argument. So what you're saying is, if at 20 weeks the mother says, "I don't want to send me anymore," right before, right before, "I don't want to send me anymore," take it out. If the baby lives, good, it lives. If it doesn't, oh, it sucks, it died. Right? That's what you're saying.
I mean, if she says take it out at like that point,
No. It's before the prematurity, right? So it's still it's premature. It's 19 weeks.
right.
It's not 20.
No,
It's 19 weeks, right?
I
So
understood that.
so the mother's allowed to say any point before then, before 20, she's allowed to say, take that bitch out. If it lives, good. If it doesn't, fuck him. He dies, right?
No, that's not what I said.
Why not? Because you're saying abortion's allowed up to 20. That means taking it out, right? You're saying if it can't live without the mother. So you're not saying go in and kill the thing. You're saying just take it out. If it can live, no.
I'm saying abortion.
So you're saying go in and kill it.
Yeah. That's what I said. I mean,
But your argument is living without the mother's support. That's my point. Like if you want to make 20 weeks,
I'm saying it's not a person.
because they can't live without the machines or the mother, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not its own organism.
So you're not saying go kill it. You're saying take it out. If it cannot live without the machines or the mother, then
But that's not what I said.
I don't think you're like realizing what you're saying. So like you're saying, okay, you know what? Restate what you said so I don't like mischaracterize you.
What I'm trying to say is that the person thing. We're talking about the person thing. I personally I don't think it's a person inside the womb, or let's say if it were to get taken out after the 20-week thing, let's say birth happened for some whatever reason, it was a complication, and they had to take the baby out,
Mm.
and it can survive on the machines. Like at that point, it's still not necessarily a person because it can't really survive by itself, in my opinion.
Okay,
Now,
but I know you don't mean that.
is
That's
it
okay.
is it a living being? Yes, but personhood, I still wouldn't really consider it a person.
So when would they become a person?
When they're an organism that doesn't need outside support.
Okay, there are premature babies that don't need outside support. They just live. Like they just live. They just do.
Okay.
So you know, like it's not all premature babies that it cannot. But even if, okay, you know what? That's bad faith too. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do conscious. So what you're saying is, okay, word for word. If the organism can live on its own, then it's a person. If it cannot, then it is not.
Like
Right?
at simplest way. Yeah, I guess that would be what I say.
Okay, now hypothetically, let's say just to make it easy, at 20 weeks, it can live on its own. Right? Let's just pick a number. Hypothetically, let's just say at 20 weeks, it can live on its own. So any point before 20 weeks, not a person. Any point after 20 weeks, person.
Sure.
All right.
We'll
So
say that in respect to
so you're saying
situation.
after 20 weeks, you are no longer allowed to go in and kill it. You can only take it out. Before 20 weeks, you are allowed to go in and kill it.
That's actually, I'd say that's pretty reasonable.
Okay, so before 20 weeks, you are allowed to go in and intentionally kill it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That comes back to the same issue that consciousness comes back to. So do you want to jump onto consciousness so we can talk about why that's an issue?
Sure.
Alrighty. So the issue with consciousness. So let's say that consciousness definitively, for sure, 100% guarantee starts at 20 weeks old. Right?
Okay.
If you have a person that is in a vegetable state, fully grown person, 6 years, your dad, whatever. Your dad is 6 years old. He gets in a car crash. He's in a coma. Knock on wood, obviously. And gets in a coma, brain dead. No brain waves. Would you disconnect him?
Yeah.
What if I told you in 20 weeks exactly, your dad will wake up?
I know, and that's always a possibility. But
No. I can definitively tell you in 20 weeks exactly, your dad will wake up for sure, guaranteed, 100%. Would you still disconnect him?
if I knew that,
Uh-huh.
no.
Okay, that's the same issue with that. At 20
Right, I
weeks,
agree.
I guarantee you that baby will live on its own. So if you take it out before then, knowing full well that at 20 weeks it will be able to live on its own, you understand why that's an issue, right? Because you knew it was gonna get that life. It was gonna be able to live on its own.
Right, but it's not the same thing.
How is it not? You know for sure, because we do know for sure
Because-
at 20 weeks, for
because-
example, it will.
Right, and I agree with you. Right, I see where you're coming from, and I get your point. But the reason I don't agree is because at the end of the day, the 60-year-old man that I knew was going to wake up in 20 weeks has been alive for 60 years. He wasn't just like conceived.
But now you're moving on from the
Had-
personhood being able to live on its own to lived experience. That's where you're moving on from. So it's no longer about like living on its own. It's about lived experience.
Not necessarily. What I'm trying to say is I don't see it as like the same thing mainly because of that.
So
Like,
is
it's
it
not about
is
lived
it
experience.
is it because you need to live on your own and lived experience?
No, I think
Hmm.
the fetus hasn't even like gained an existence, right?
Yeah, lived
It doesn't
experience.
even like right. No. Right. I guess you could call it that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't clarify. Lived experience, anything after like birth. Let's just call it.
No. I know what you're saying, but like the way I see it is choosing to bring a child into a world, right?
Hmm.
Where you're not going to be like you're not equipped mainly because you don't want kids, right? You're not equipped for
Okay, but you know you're moving on, right?
raising a
Like you're
child.
moving on from
No,
living on your own.
I'm going back to.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to
Okay.
this. Give me a sec.
Okay.
Right now, let's say you do give birth to that child. That child's lived experience is gonna be miserable with a parent who doesn't care for them. Didn't want them in the first place, right? Because not everybody gets put up for adoption when they're born out of a
Oh, they are if their
pregnancy
mother
that
wants it.
didn't be wanted. Not necessarily.
Yeah, if the mother wants it, they're gonna go up for adoption. You could literally go drop your baby off right now at a fire station.
Right, but the thing is, there's financial reasons that people wouldn't do that.
Like being able to abuse welfare. Is that what you mean?
Right. Like being able to take advantage of the fact that you have
I
it.
guess. Yeah.
And that kid's gonna suffer, right? They're gonna get treated like shit.
Yep. I
They're
agree.
just a check. Trust me, I've seen it.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree.
I know a few people.
I
So
agree.
like,
But
personally,
you still
I
haven't gone back. Just so you're aware, you haven't gone back to why
I
that relates.
know,
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Personally, I think putting an unborn baby into a situation like that over choosing whether or not to bring, like, end somebody's life in a vegetable state or not, whether because you know they're coming back, I don't think they're comparable because, like, you also don't know the situation of the mother most of the times.
Yeah, but it's not about the
And,
mother.
like,
It's
what
about
if
the
the-
baby.
At the end of the day, though, the mother is like the main factor in that baby's life.
The mother is a co-factor. She's not the main factor. The baby is the main factor. His life or her life.
Right, but without the nurturing factor, the baby is nothing.
I mean, yeah, like if the mother were to abandon it, yeah, it would just die.
Right. So
Yeah, so put it up for
would you
adoption.
rather? Would you rather? Right, but not everybody does that.
Okay, but the hospital's not gonna like let the baby be born and then the mother walks away and then they just leave it there. No, they take care of it. There's people that will pick up after their
Yeah,
lack of
but-
responsibility. In any case, this still doesn't tie back to why you related to the personal argument.
Okay. My fucking brain broke.
It's a long convo, man. Shit just fucking falls apart after a certain point.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. I can't really like compare. I guess it's just a disconnect on my part. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I personally can't see where the fetus would have more of a like chance to live because legally it's killing. Like I think it's a weird argument to make in the sense that you take away like I don't know. Because the argument goes for both sides, I guess. Like you do take away autonomy from both the baby and the mother, no matter which side of the argument you really sit on when you think about it. And like, yeah, I get your part, the whole taking responsibility, and I don't necessarily disagree with you on that. But I think there's nuance to it, man. Like I don't know.
Ah,
I
yeah, I
like-
don't disagree.
I don't
Because
think it's
I could
like,
definitely make a case for
life.
what it should be
like-
done. For example, dude, like, for example, look, like, I don't see how there is any possible scenario in that 95% of abortions where you could excuse it. Again, you're more than welcome to like do some research and then get back to me and see if you can convince me, because I'm willing to hear you out. But I'm definitely like I know there are reasons why it should be allowed because it's so conflicting for that other 5%, right? So like if you know, for example, trisomy 21, no, I'm sorry, trisomy 17, I believe, it's not compatible with life. So if at 9 weeks old you find out that the kid has trisomy, you can let it grow into a baby to die at birth? That's fucked. That is fucked. So there are reasons why you should be allowed to do it. I just don't see one for that 95% of the people. It just sounds to me like a cop out. Like I understand why, dude. It fucking sucks. It's 18 years of life. That's fucking hard, dude.
I guess you could say it's a cop out, but like some people aren't fucking built for that shit, bro.
It fucking sucks, dude. I know. It's like it's such a bad burden put on you, but you just got dealt that hand in life. You just gotta own up to it, dude.
But I think I don't think you need to always own up to the things like that.
Something that you personally were responsible for, I think you should.
I
Because I agree, there are things that you shouldn't have to take responsibility
like,
for.
I can't sit here and say I disagree with what you're saying because like I do agree with what you're saying, but I'm looking at it from a perspective of the child's point of view always. And like at the end of the day, I would have like
Well, I know where you're trying to get at, but like I think your disconnect. Let me just like help you with there. I think your disconnect is in the fact that like you know that shit could go wrong, but it's not a guarantee, brother. It's not a guarantee. That's the issue. That's the problem.
yes, but it doesn't change the fact that I think it should be a choice that people should have an option to. Do I think it's necessarily right? No. Have I had an abortion in my relationships? Once. I'm not gonna say you're like I've gone.
Honest question, you don't have to answer, but like just a question. Like, do you think that's like in any way like weighing on your decision? Like, do you think that if you own up to the case that it was and you shouldn't have done it, that you would feel guilt towards it? Because
No.
like honestly,
I don't necessarily
no.
feel
Okay,
towards it because I don't think
okay,
I don't think
okay.
at
I
the
believe
time,
you.
like in that moment, I don't think I was in a position to raise that child, and neither was the woman I was with. And we had consciously made the decision to have the baby. We wanted to have the baby originally.
Okay, but you just declared like
Things
now
right.
that you don't you know it's not right. So like it's I can also grant you this like it's not retrospectively. It's not that you did something wrong knowing that it was wrong because you can go throughout. This is such a complicated topic. How is that like at all intuitive that you're killing a person? It's not. So if you do so, and like for example, I've given for like past exes Plan B. Like it's not. I'm not saying it. Like I'm not a saint here. I'm not. But like if you do something in the past,
I'm talking about terminating a pregnancy.
well, Plan B is the same thing. Plan B is an abortion. But in any case,
It's an abortion, but it's. I think it's a little bit different because
well, in my eyes, it's subjectively. In my eyes, it would be the same. As that abortion was to you, it would be the same to me. So so that's how like in my eyes, right? So I know you don't see it the same way. I do. So in my eyes, subjectively, I did that in the past, right? So I'm responsible for that. So I still don't think that I'm like fucking like an evil fucking human for having done that in the past in ignorance. If you were unaware, there's no reason that you could possibly be like charged at fault for it.
like I'm fully aware of what an abortion is.
Well, now, like back then, where you okay, so if now you came to the conclusion that you know it's wrong, right? So if you come to that conclusion right now,
I don't think
before you didn't have that.
necessarily wrong. Okay.
Sorry, it just sounded like you said that earlier.
In the situation I was in, like I don't think it's necessarily wrong.
Okay.
Is it morally wrong for some people? 100%. And I'm not
Well,
going to take that away from anybody.
how can it be for some people and not others?
Because I don't know how to explain like my point of view. I don't know how to put it into words necessarily.
That's fine. I respect that. That's fine. If you can like sit down and like crack the shit out on paper with diagrams and shit and get back to me, that's fine.
I see it, like, but no, the way I see it is, I was not in a position to give that child a life.
Okay, but you know that's a cop out, right?
I know it's a cop out.
Okay.
But I'm telling you the situation.
Why you did? Yeah. Mhm.
Right. There was a lot of external factors between family, our living situation, finances.
Mine was for the same reasons, by the way. Same reasons. I did the same thing for the same reasons.
Things kind of went downhill,
Mhm.
and we had to make that decision. It wasn't a decision that was made lightheartedly, but it wasn't a decision that was made without thinking about the consequences. And yes, there is a life. Like I never denied this. But at the end of the day, I think having the option to basically keep your life on track because the baby is a derailment, to keep your life on the track that you personally feel like you need, is kind of more important than the unborn baby, in my opinion.
Yeah, man.
And not
It's
because the unborn baby doesn't deserve to live, but at the end of the day, the life that I could have given it could have been good. It could have been bad. I don't know. I can't answer that question. But I know for a fact that if I were to try and have a kid again, I don't think I would go for it. Because I've learned as I've gotten older that I just don't want kids.
that's fine. You know, yeah, like your mind changes all the time. Who knows? In 10 years, it might be a different case. You have your whole life. You can do it at 80 if you want. We have that advantage over women. But I don't know, man. Look, listen. It just sounds like you haven't like concretely just thought this whole thing through. So like if you want to sit down and figure it out and then get back to me with like a more organized like pattern and like points to like hit me with, then by all means, because I like I said, I am 100% willing to hear you out. I am 100% willing to change my mind if this
No,
if you can justify it.
and
But
and
like,
I and
and
I
if you
and
want
I
me to help you, I can help you. Like sort
and I
shit out and like
100%.
I'll send you some like studies like shit where I've been like hit with that I've been like oof, that's a fucking hard one. I don't know about that.
Right.
Like
And like,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, bro. I like you say my opinion's wrong, but I necessarily don't think it's wrong. But I also don't think like I said it earlier, but I really truly don't think your opinion is necessarily wrong. I just don't think it's one that fits everybody's situation. Like that's the main thing that I like look at it from. Cause like if I had to choose again, I don't think I'd do another abortion. Like realistically, I think I would
You
go
would
through
let
it.
it go through?
I might not want kids, but I think that would change after I had kids. Who knows? But
I respect the shit out of that.
I
That's good
do
shit.
think I do think people should have the choice because maybe they make that choice and then later on they do want kids and they end up like finding something in their life, but had they had the kid, their entire situation might have been worse. Who knows? I
Yep.
just think that like a kid is a huge commitment to make, and like making that decision on a whim with someone just because you got them pregnant should not be something that everyone has to deal with. Like I personally don't think certain people should be together having kids. I think certain people like I don't know. I just think taking away people's autonomy because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna sit here and say that you're not taking away the baby's autonomy.
Hmm.
Like that's 100%. Like I agree with you on that.
Hmm.
But when you take away the person's autonomy, I don't think it's right either. You get me? And like, yes, again, we go back to taking, responsibility, but like you said, you've done it before too. Like it's
Hmm.
just it's something that I feel like isn't necessarily right, but isn't necessarily wrong. I think it sits more in a gray area. Like I don't know, it's really difficult for me to like sit here and like pin like wrong or right on it because I can't see it being either one personally. Like having experienced it, having lived through watching multiple people go through it, I just think it's a very nuanced like I said before, it's a very
Extremely.
nuanced subject. It's super difficult to like truly get a concrete like position to sit on without completely, denying someone their stance. I don't know.
I get you, man. The conclusion that I've come to,
That's what
because I
makes
feel
it
the same way, man. Like, trust me, I want to like allow it as much as the next person. Like who's against this? Nobody wants to be against this. It's just logically in my head, logically, I can't fucking fathom any fucking reason on why I should like allow it to happen in those 95% of cases. That that I just can't fucking do it. I can't crack out of my
and
head a
I and
reason
I
why I can't
and
do
I
it.
respect that.
And
And I
like
respect
and
that. Like
since yeah, and I am
that's how I feel. That's how I feel
innately
with
I
life
want to
and
allow it,
most life in general.
but I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't like.
And I
Yeah.
respect that because
Okay.
like the way I see life, I think life is extremely fucking valuable. So I can completely see your point of view. I just like I have an issue with how our country funds or takes away funds from like Planned Parenthood and like important resources for parents, right?
Hmm.
So like the
Like
climate
Planned Parenthood is a
currently,
whole like different issue. We can talk about that
right,
too
right.
if you guys want.
That's a
Yeah.
whole different issue entirely. But like
Mhm.
the way things are set up, it's just like you can't even like live on like a normal wage right now. Like you need to slave away multiple jobs if you're not getting paid like $40 an
Mhm.
hour or more in most places. Like,
Mhm.
so it's like it's a hard issue to like sit and and decide upon because at the end of the day the economy fucking sucks. I don't want to raise a kid into a situation that I got raised into that's even worse,
Mhm.
where buying a house is a fucking pipe dream almost.
But you still would right now if
I
it were to
mean,
happen.
if it were to happen, it is what it is at this point. But like,
Mhm.
I don't, I genuinely don't want to raise a kid in this like situation. Like the political climate, there's a lot of like reasons why people might want to get an abortion, and I don't know. Maybe it's for the perceived better situation of like not raising a kid in that situation. There's like so many reasons that aren't reasons that I can agree with you. They can be claimed to be excuses because at the end of the day, that's what they are. Like
Mhm.
any reason for someone to get out of something is an excuse. Like
Yeah.
realistically speaking. So like I can't sit here and deny your point, and I can't say you're wrong, right?
Mhm.
But I also don't agree 100%. So
That's fair,
like
man. If you want, we could always like drop
yeah,
it
we can
until you
always
until
like
you can like sort that
I
shit
gotta
out.
do
You know?
some more like I gotta write down my thoughts because
Yeah.
like that's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's just
Writing
like
down
getting them organized. That's
that's an
all.
important thing. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. We could
But
call
nah,
it there, but we need to like stay active in the
I
chat,
would
man.
I would 100% I would 100% like respect your opinion. I hope you know that. Like
Same,
I
man.
don't
Same.
think
Same.
you're wrong, but I also don't think you're right, and I don't think I'm right either. Like genuinely, but I also don't think I'm wrong. Like I think it's just a moral gray area because it's very difficult to like sit here and like go through each case and say which ones are like you can sit here and like paint in black and white, but they're not always ever gonna be black and white like that. Like that's the thing about fucking life, unfortunately, and that's what makes all this shit so goddamn complicated and divisive. It's you have so many different viewpoints, man.
So we're trying to sort this shit out, dog. Hey, guy, let's stay a little more active on the and
But let's
for y'all niggas in the audience too,
I
in
don't
the
know if there's
politics
anybody
chat,
else who wants
because
to jump in.
I,
If you
I
want to
don't
go
I don't
get
think they
some
do.
water and
They
have a
wouldn't.
smoky smoke.
Oh shit, same, dude. Same. All
Kevin,
right.
you wanna jump in on this in a little bit, or are we done for now?
He's probably working, man. I think that's what he said.
Oh wait, what time is it? No, it's 11:30.
No.
You should be out of work.
Oh well, I'm gonna go back to the chat now, so we could always talk about it there.
Yeah, we can chill there.
But yeah, let's call it here on the debate stage.
I like this Peter better, bro.
The
I didn't like the
confrontational
yelling
Peter.
Peter.
Yeah, you know
I
what? Like
didn't like
it's
the
never
yelling
worked.
Peter.
It doesn't work.
This is
It doesn't work.
it doesn't, man. And that's what I've been trying. Hopefully, Papa realizes that soon too. 'Cause
Maybe if he
Papa's
fucking like
another
gets
one.
active, dude, and he starts participating in these, cause it's kind of fucked.
We just gotta make sure he doesn't do what he did to me last time. I'm fucking kick his ass next time.
See, that's why, like, even if it's this is why I didn't want to like just like get it going in a random chat, because they could just leave, or like somebody could just leave and then it stays there like stale and everybody's fucking like broken. But if like you come in here, even if I'm not because if I grab Pablo, I'm pretty sure I could calm him down. But like even if I'm not in the thing, I could moderate. So if he's getting out of hand, I could come back in and be like, hey man,
Yeah,
relax,
just
you
like
know.
chill things
So
out.
so that's why it has to be done here. But yeah, let's call here. Let's go back to the chat. But yeah, I'm gonna go smoke real quick.
That was a good little debate we had there.
That's why I wanna keep going, dude.
I respect your points, bro. And like I said, I don't think you're wrong, man.
By the way, do you wanna like because remember I'm recording and I'm putting them up. You don't have to say your name if you don't want to. Your name is like some random nonsense. But if you want to say your name, you can. It's your choice.
My name's Jonathan.
Johnny. All right, let's let me stop the recording here. here then?
I'm the